Anime is peak fiction, and I don't really care what non-fiction you prefer because anime is peak regardless. The thing is, there's also anime that's not peak and you probably wouldn't care about it. So I simply don't care about them. But what I do care about are the hype animes that give you memories. You saw the thumbnail, and if you remember any of these animes, I promise you should remember these moments. So let's talk about how these hype moments can affect you as an anime watcher. Peak fiction does not just appear out of thin air. That means whenever new anime drops with hype moments, people start running. And I'm sure you've seen it before if you're on social media. Whenever something big happens, it just starts trending on X. Side note, Elon Musk, this is not the name you should have went with because... Nonetheless, we have plenty of moments within anime that are spectacular, and sometimes these moments are more important than the rest of the show. Now, of course, everyone has a subjective opinion towards a hype moment, but I'd like to point out just some of the most immaculate ones that everyone across the globe talks about. And I think it's good to start off with a popular anime that everyone really knows about, which is Dragon Ball, specifically Dragon Ball Z. We all know that Dragon Ball is the grandfather of having transformations. It really doesn't matter what the character does as long as they can call it a new form. It's kind of crazy. They can change their hair color, fuse their bodies with a dance or an earring, which is also very crazy, or just simply call yourself perfect. Dragon Ball will continue to have wild transformations every time it comes out, but there are for sure iconic moments from Dragon Ball that is worldwide, and one of the most popular ones is this. NANI? Do you remember this? Of course you do, I don't even know why I'm asking. A pivotal point of Dragon Ball, which probably could be the best arc where we thought Gohan was going to take over. I mean, it kind of made sense for this show, right? We had the original Dragon Ball series for years and there was no Gohan. Suddenly, around the Saiyan saga, Gohan just appears from Goku's back. They also showed multiple times that Gohan has the potential to be stronger than his father. So when we finally make it to the Cell saga and he hits his teenage years, we thought that this was the time. Especially at the point when Goku decided to heal the enemy. To this day, that part was crazy. I don't know what dude was thinking. But they also showed that Gohan's a bit different compared to his father. You see, Goku lives to fight and he really doesn't have a brain. However, when it comes to Gohan, he really doesn't want to do the martial arts stuff. His dream is to use that smart brain he has and also to become a family man. So to watch Cell destroy Android 16 in front of Gohan, that triggered something. And it's probably best he decided to have 16 for last because that was not the only one he was destroying. But regardless, this red line moment is one of the most iconic moments within Dragon Ball. The only moments that could come close to this are the original Super Saiyan transformation or Majin Vegeta. And honestly, Vegeta loses too much for me to care. But I also believe this red line moment is so memorable because they did it again. Within the most recent Dragon Ball Super movie, Gohan hits another transformation. And because it's against the big baddie named Cell Max, they decide to do the whole thing again. So even if you don't think this is peak, Toei does. Now this example is specifically for them Dragon Ball fans that love a transformation. In other words, I can't say this is for everyone. So we can look at another example of peak fiction such as Attack on Titan. You know, the show about naked man-eating people that love to munch on people inside the walls. I mean, come on now, I'm not that naive. If you've seen this show, you know what it's about. Finding out the truth and the revelations of characters you did not expect to be what they are is really surprising. And while this moment may count as just a transformation for some people, this moment is much bigger. I'm talking about the relationship we saw between two big characters. The moment between Eren Yeager and Reina Braun. Technically Bertolt was here too, but we don't really care. The relationship between both of these characters was very important because it was a trust. You know, the I got your back, you got mine, mwah, buddy buddy. That was very important to the show, especially when you don't know who can become a man-eating titan. And plus, Reina has always been there for the other cadets. At least that's what we first imagined. Do you recall the specific moment when we find out that Reina and Bertolt are the armor and the colossal? Now the show never tells you directly that they are those said titans. And it's even better because they do a great job hiding the fact that they are those titans. You know, picking up through context clues. So when this moment happens, hit the fan. Attack on Titan has several moments like this, which is why some people would call it peak fiction. The other moment is the initial appearance of the colossal titan, and this is one of the best manga sales for the series period. So you could make a case that this moment is bigger than the Reina and Bertolt reveal. But I'm sure we can all agree that Attack on Titan has has several moments we can talk about back to back. Now just so we're clear, Attack on Titan and Dragon Ball are those series that want to give you a shock factor. You know, moments that you don't expect to happen and they should make you jump out of your seat. But there are series that are calm, cool, and collected that still have the peak fiction in them. And the first one that comes to mind is Death Note. If you have not seen Death Note, then there's a huge issue. You see, Death Note is a shonen as well and also appeared in Shonen Jump. But compared to the other shows we just talked about, this show's not about who has the strongest muscles or who has the fastest 40-yard dash. Instead, Death Note looks towards which character has the biggest brain and who can outsmart who. It's actually quite refreshing because no character has to throw fists at all. Even though there is a time within the show that they decide to throw fists because they just don't get along, but that's not here nor there. Death Note follows a young protagonist named Light Yagami who believes if you do something wrong as a criminal, you just shouldn't be around. And of course, thanks to this amazing being called Plot, they give him what he needs. A book at which you can write down the name of the person you want to die, how they should die, and when you can kill them. We can always make jokes about how many people in the real life world would love to have this. But it's interesting because Light Yagami is not the weird kid that has his own hit list. In fact, the antagonist of the show, L, is the character you think would have the hit list. The show primarily goes around these two characters and how they try to get around one another. Light himself wants to kill people and will kill anyone that gets in his way. Meanwhile, L's job is to find who's killing these people and to not get killed himself. It's a really fun brain teaser to figure out who's going to win at the end of the day. But this show is elevated a lot more when it comes to its peak moments. And one of the most peakest of peak moments for Death Note is this. It's crazy to think about how eating a chip is considered hype. But regardless of what you think, this is it. For those of you who don't remember or you simply don't know what's going on, Light Yagami is currently under watch because they believe he is the reason people are dying. So since they have cameras set up within his room, he needs to find another way to do his job. So like the protagonist he is, he finds another way to deal with it. Instead of looking at the TV to find names of criminals, he puts a small TV inside his chip bag. So while he's munching on some potato chips, he can watch the TV and get the name. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is called peak fiction. The creators of Death Note found a way to make a moment like this look actually good. Even though he just has a small TV in his potato chip bag, it still looks nice. Now that we've went over a few examples, I want to talk about one more moment. For this example, there's a build up for episodes upon episodes until it happens. I'm talking about the fights between Naruto and Sasuke, and really both major fights between Naruto and Sasuke. With the three previous examples in this video, I talked about a moment that does happen, but they don't have a build up to it. I mean, there's no way you thought like Yagami was gonna put a TV in his potato chips. Of course you could look at the Dragon Ball Super example and assume Gohan was gonna have a similar moment, but there was no build up, especially because Cell did not reveal himself till the end. And also within the big three, they all have hype fights between the series, but there are not two protagonists in the other two. To be completely honest, no matter how much you like them, Zoro and Uryu do not equal up to Sasuke. Sasuke himself gets enough screen time to be his own main character. And some people would argue in a Boruto series he probably is, but that's not here nor there. Let's talk about their two fights. The first fight happens within the original Naruto series where Sasuke cannot help himself. Sasuke himself is dying to get some power so he can go kill his brother over something he doesn't understand. Therefore, thanks to a nice little bite from Orochimaru, he decides he can get more power from him. This eventually leads into the big Sasuke retrieval arc in Naruto. Now Naruto himself I really don't have much to say about because his personal goals don't align towards getting Sasuke. He has some weird personal vendetta which I don't really understand. But because they're weirdly best friends, he can't help himself but to go chase after Sasuke. And because Tigo Bitties doesn't have much of a thought process, she sends a couple of Genin to go chase him. Now at this point of the story, it doesn't matter who's a Chunin or a Genin, they're kids. And she's basically sending them to go fight Orochimaru who could be waiting on the other side. Regardless, with several Sound Ninja in the way, Naruto and Co decide to go chase after Sasuke and bring him back. This leads up to one of the biggest fights within the Naruto series. And I gotta say, as a viewer, you like this because you like Sasuke or Naruto. You will either love Naruto or you will hate him because he's chasing after some kid that doesn't matter. You could also be a Sasuke lover or just hate him because he's chasing after revenge. Regardless, the fight we get between them is peak. Naruto's doing everything he can using his untamed fox spirit abilities, and then you have Sasuke over here growing hands out of his back. This fight here is memorable, especially because it doesn't end the way you expect. But alas, they decide to top it off by doing another fight in Naruto Shippuden. Shippuden. Naruto Shippuden is the sequel of Naruto and the end of his main dream. Naruto Shippuden takes place years after Naruto and Jiraiya train, and then Sasuke doing whatever the hell he does. The problem is Naruto's still gun-ho about Sasuke and bringing him back. While the ideal is still stupid, Naruto Shippuden specifically addresses the issues that Sasuke has. Sasuke goes through different eras finding out the truth of what really happened to his clan and killing his brother in the meantime. Of course, as viewers and Sasuke himself, we find out that's not the play. Luckily for Sasuke, in the peak writing, he gets one more chance to be around his brother. Even though the actions of killing his brother are still kind of like, you know, bruh, what? Now, I don't want to jump into it too much, especially because it could take hours to explain. But basically, in some way, shape, and form, God is brought back and Naruto and Sasuke have to beat God. And after they defeat the god Kaguya, they can reverse everything she's done and bring the world back to normal. But nuh-uh, Sasuke says, I am plot and I will make more plot. So they decide to fight instead. Now this fight is a recreation of the fight back in the original Naruto. But this time they have new powers and mastered all the other powers they didn't have before. Sasuke now has the strongest powers of a Sharingan, a Rinnegan. He has control over lightning and fire jutsu, and he can create a giant mech at the blink of an eye. Naruto can now control the nine-tailed fox inside of him, has control over multiple different elements, can create shadow clone jutsus whenever he feels like it, and fuse them together. If you thought Kaguya was a god, you haven't even seen these boys. Alas, I didn't mention everything they can do, but it's nice to watch them do it all without talking. This fight here is what fans wanted to see for years from Naruto and Sasuke. And this moment right here is true peak fiction. And honestly, with the chef's kiss, they don't just give Naruto the win. Instead, they end up with a draw, both losing an arm, and call it quits. Now, when it comes to Naruto, this is peak fiction. And understand, with all the shows we mentioned today, I'm not asking you to like them, I'm asking you to respect them. These big moments make a series stand out and they're memorable for years to come. And as you know, I haven't even talked about every show on the thumbnail, but there are so many more moments we can still jump into. Gojo revealing his powers in Jujutsu Kaisen, Gon Freaks transforming to beat Neferpito in Hunter x Hunter, Colonel Mustang destroying Envy out of pure hate in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. There are just so many more great moments and I'd love to do a part 2, but that means you'll have to tell me that you want to see a part 2. So if you like this video or want to see a part 2, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out tremendously and I appreciate every single one of you. Now that being said, if you're looking for more anime content, I just talked about anime games over here, and with new anime games on the horizon, I think it's one you should check out. Y'all have a good one and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.